What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take NFL DFS Wise stream. Week 8, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined by the two OGs, the two Goombas. Is that a thing, or did I fuck that up, man? We're watching The Sopranos and talking. Goomba. Yes. My two Italian friends here, Paulie D. First up, Paisan. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. Paulie, what's happening?
What's up, man? How's it going down?
It's going good, man. Going good. Also joined by Mr. OG, Skinny Joe, the artist formerly known as Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. He ain't changed that yet. Joey, what's happening?
Not much. I guess you could probably introduce us as your two capos.
Yes.
Okay, so you're the godfather. We're the capos.
Yes, I'm into it. So before we do the lineups for week 8, we can talk a little bit about last week. I told you with NBA starting up and the card business thing, I told y'all like it's been a blur. You asked me how I did last week, and I just don't even remember much about last week. I remember now. We talked a little bit. You guys reminded me about how terrible I was, and I remember getting called out in the Slack too. Somebody was like, "Yo, CK, what's up with your core?" And I wasn't even mad. I was just like, oh, yeah, they were terrible. Like, I had won, fucking $5,000 the week before. So it's like to follow that up with that was just like, that was typical, right? It's just typical. You smash, you have that smash week, you know what's coming the next. And, but you guys, I'll say this. I remember like ending the slate. Joe, I know it was a good cash game week for you once again. But I know like I was thinking as I was watching all these games, like, Paulie and Joe have to be smashing right now, because I know on the first look this show last week, you guys were talking about the Falcons and Miami game. I hadn't heard nobody talk about that game. I remember a couple of points I rolled my eyes. I was like, interesting, but you guys nailed that. Paulie, I know you were all over Joe Burrow come Sunday. So here I was thinking that, and Joe did do well. So this is more about for Paulie, man. What went wrong, man? You were on the nuts. Like, I don't know.
Not much, not much, but, with GPP life, and I'm playing large field, I may make an adjustment, but, I'm throwing 100 lineups in the $5 and then, a couple in the donkey, and you just got to be perfect. And even though I had like low on guys that went off, I had like 2 or 3 duds in a lot of lineups, like, going to that Bengals, Ravens, like, I ended up having no pieces of the Rams, and I love the Rams and Cup, but I ended up playing a lot of Tyler Higbee, a cheap tight end. I thought, he'd get 1 touchdown. He had like 4 points, and that really hurt. And I think I struck out with like the defense or something. I don't remember exactly, but I know like after the 1 o'clocks, I was doing really well. Like I was up a couple thousand. I was like, it's gonna, I didn't need much, and it didn't get there from there. It just fell apart and sucked. I like lost like $30 or $40 on a week. I should have like took shit down.
Sorry, I brought it up. Joey, what went right?
Well, I mean, from the first get-go, like I was on like the Bucks D. I was like, I'm locking the Bucks D into my cash games, and they got me 21 points. So it kind of saved like everything else. And then on Saturday night, me and Paulie were talking about it basically came down, my lineup decision on FanDuel came down to either Godwin, Fournette, or Evans. And it was one of the 3. And I had Evans in there, and me and Paulie said, let's just stick with it. Even though like Fournette was probably going to be higher owned, and so was Godwin. They both were higher owned, but we stuck with Evans at 20%. I added him late to my cash game on Sunday morning, my cash game article, and I rolled with Evans, and he wound up getting 3 touchdowns. He was only 20% owned, while Godwin and Fournette were in the 40s. That was enough to put me over the cash line in every one of my contests.
I just remembered my thoughts on last week, and my thoughts were like why the fuck do I not play Tom Brady every week? Like, I don't remember. Like, that's how it ended. I was at a relative's family thing watching the game, watching the red zone, playing with my daughter, looking up at the TV as Tom Brady celebrated, thinking like, why don't I just have one team with him? And it's just, you have 5 quarterbacks in your pool. Why is he not like? Come on, you can't make him the 5th one every time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit is crazy. He's so good. All right, now we're gonna move on to week 8, and we're gonna build a team. I know it's a weird slate. We talked about that, and I don't think any of us have really. This is probably the least prepared I've been. Like, it's always a first look, but this is literally a first look. I opened it up about 10 minutes before I sent this call. I don't know, Paulie, I think you opened it up 10 minutes after we started the call. So I don't know how much Joe's looked at it, but I'm banking that Joe's got some ideas. I'm hoping Joe is always skinny. Yes. Joe is always prepared. You know what I'm saying? It's because he's skinny. He's got the good oxygen blood flow to his brain. You know what I mean?
By the end of this hour, we'll have some ideas.
We'll have some ideas for sure. All right. We're gonna start with DraftKings like we always do. Paulie, unless you interject, I'm gonna ask Joe, where do you want to start?
All right. So like we say, this is a kind of a weird slate because the highest projected game totals aren't on the Sunday main slate. We have Dallas and Minnesota, we have New York and the Chiefs, we have Green Bay and Arizona. Those are the 3 highest games. And then we get to the game that I kind of like because the total rose over 3 points. That's Tennessee at the Colts. So I feel like in this DraftKings lineup, I want to attack this game. I feel like there's some good value with some bits and pieces because I feel like there's other games where you might want to fit in like one piece of that game, knowing that it probably won't go back and forth. Like, for instance, like the Rams and the Texans. The Rams, everybody's gonna be heavily on the Rams. The Bills and the Dolphins. I think that could be a sneaky shootout game, or it could be a blowout. Like, I just feel like I don't know if the Dolphins can keep up. So how much are the Bills gonna keep pressing? The button. Detroit and Philly is another possibility that I think could be a possible sneaky shootout game. But I basically want to focus on Tennessee and the Colts. And here's the one question that I have for you that kind of makes me basically if you're going to Henry or not to Henry. Last week, Taylor Lewan was out. And he only got 86 yards on like 29 carries. And I just wonder if that had something to do with it. And Taylor Lewan had a concussion. And he could be out again this week or not. I feel like if he's in, it's almost like we could play Henry and be comfortable with it and roll with it because I'm not really into Kamara against Tampa. Maybe all you're doing is you're hoping for PPR points left and right. And then there's a big drop off until we get to Eckler and Najee Harris, which we can, like I said, maybe we can fit that in bits and pieces, but. Starting off with that, Paulie, what do you think? Is that a good intro?
So, my first glance at this slate, that was the game that stuck out to me the most. The Colts and the Titans. I love that game. Carson Wentz is cheap. Michael Pittman's insanely cheap for what his role is in that offense. And, every week he just, shows he's better and better. He's bigger than everyone. He's, out there just, getting tons of targets, making big plays. The Colts throw the ball down the field, and Tennessee can't defend nothing. And the Colts defense, they really haven't stopped anybody. So I see, like a divisional rival, close shootout type of game here. And I think both quarterbacks are going to be contrarian, and I like them both a lot.
I'll say this. It's like the perfect like perception, like just crusher, right? Like the Titans coming off a game where they destroyed Patrick Mahomes, right? They were at home. Mahomes couldn't do shit. Now they're playing Carson,
and they beat the Bills the week.
Right.
They come up with a nice stretch.
And now they're going into a dome to play the Colts, and so I'm wondering like what ownership's going to look like. But I do like the idea anyway of Carson Wentz at 5.7 on DraftKings. That was definitely something that was cool. So what are we thinking, gentlemen, to start?
Let's do Wentz with Pittman and bring it back with AJ Brown.
AJ Breezy.
Yeah. And then it's basically, do we want to put Henry in this lineup or not? What do you think, Paulie?
And he threw a touchdown last week. I would say without Luan, I'd say no.
Yeah, we don't know if he's back. He it's like 2 weeks ago on that Monday night game, he got knocked out.
Yeah,
It looked like it looked bad. And he was only out for concussion. But you could totally tell that it was affecting the line in his play last week.
Mm-hmm. I mean, game script, he should have, went for 200. They were killing them, and so I would say, like, without Luan, I'm definitely not on it.
Okay.
But you got to think about, like, the script, like, if Wentz is going to go off with Pittman, it's most likely because Henry did well and the Colts fell behind, yada, yada. But, there's multiple paths. And we know, essentially, with the Titans, there's 3 guys that are going to get the ball. It's just really, if we're expecting this game to shoot out, the Titans are going to score, 5+ touchdowns. Henry's going to have 1 or 2 of them, so because we got these other guys around, it makes me also want to have him. It's tough. And when I look at running back again, just like last week, it is ugly. Like, he could certainly separate from the field by a lot, in my opinion. Like, there's Eckler, Najee, Joe Mixon, but Henderson, I guess people are gonna like again. But it's Henry's got a much higher ceiling.
Who could keep up with him? Is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
If this game is going to shoot out, I wouldn't say playing both, but like, who can match him in this game? I think Swift could if that Philly-Detroit game breaks out.
Yeah, Eckler can for sure.
And Eckler could, but I don't know about that game. I got a feeling that, like, last year Belichick rolled in with the Patriots and made Herbert look bad.
Yeah.
So I think.
I have this perception in my head that, like, the Titans are pretty good against the run and horrible against the pass, and like that's like a scheme thing. Like, you know how they're doing, like, DVOA against the run?
I don't know. CK, maybe you can.
Yeah, he's rattling.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
All right. Why don't we move on to defense? And I'm looking dumpster diving for defense. We got the Washington defense playing on the road in Denver at 2,100.
Mm-hmm.
That's a offense that doesn't wow anybody. Mm-hmm. I know they're getting Judy back, and he's actually an option this week, but, like, I'm just saying, for defenses, I think that Washington has got to be considered. Jacksonville at 2,200
for sure.
At Seattle.
Yeah.
Why don't we put them in there at 2,400? Leave that there. You got that?
You said Jacksonville?
Yeah.
2,400. Gotcha. On the road against Seattle and Geno Smith.
Geno, my boy. So I didn't get the DVOA, but just real quickly, I was able to pull up the fantasy points allowed. Titans are 23rd in fantasy points given up to running backs. They're 6th against quarterbacks and 1st against wide receivers. So there has been a pass funnel situation.
Yeah, okay. Like, first is bad.
Yeah, first meaning, like, they've given up the most. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, no, like, I'm pretty sure, like, they're similar to, like, the Eagles of the last few years. Like, many people have not run really well, but they're just a sieve against the pass.
Interestingly enough, on the other side, the Colts, 20th against quarterbacks, 21st against wide receivers, 7th most against running backs. So it kind of sits up in, like, a
Henry, Wentz, pass. Like, that's the script it sets up for, right?
All right. So why don't we put Henry in there then?
Yeah, maybe we take A.J. Brown out.
No, we could use them both.
Sure.
A.J. Brown's going to be lined up against Rocky Sin, who's one of the
I know. If it wasn't fucking pouring rain and swamp, like, what's his name, Deebo Samuel, would have went bananas against the Colts last. So,
is there another Colt we can bring it with? We got Carson. I know we don't need it.
Pascal.
But it's a Pascal. T.Y. Hilton's questionable the quad, right?
Or
And what's his name? Parrish Campbell's
Yeah,
long
he's
out.
on the
He's out till, like,
IR,
the
right?
season.
So is it like?
I,
Go ahead, Joe.
I would think maybe Mo Alley
Hines.
Cox, he scored a touchdown in the last like 4 games.
You always love Cox.
If they're coming
He
from
scored touchdowns in
behind,
the last 4 games.
if it's that script we're talking about, Hines is viable too on
He's
DraftKings,
definitely
but
viable.
that's getting really off.
Yes,
the board.
agreed.
Very similar to like J.D. McKissick of Redskins, like when they were playing tough teams. It's the same.
Well, let me ask you this: Hilton, if Hilton's in, Hilton or Pascal? Hilton. Okay.
I don't think Hilton's.
I don't think he's going to be in either. So we will go with Pascal for this example. Well, actually, we don't even have to. We don't have to do the triple stack. We can just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'd do that. I wouldn't add.
So we've got running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex, 5,200 per player, roughly. Do we want to get tight end out the way?
Yeah, let's talk about tight end. And it's we don't have none of the studs. I think the dude from Atlanta is like the highest priced tight end.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. So I'm assuming that we're gonna want to try to save money here, right? Like you don't have to. There's guys, but like
I mean, Mo Alley Cox at 3,200 if we want to do the Colts, or Hunter Henry at 4,200.
Oh, revenge spot. Yeah, he's been scoring touchdowns every game too, Henry. He's been. Or do we go back to Paulie's boy Higbee? Higbee did have 8 targets against Detroit. That's a damn shame that it didn't work out for you.
And
they tried to get him the ball.
Gronk also has some value now with AB being out, and you feel Evans is going to be on Lattimore.
Right.
He's 4,600.
Is he definitely playing?
I think he's playing this week. That's what I've read. Practicing limited capacity Wednesday.
Whoa. Definitely an option.
I like Dallas Goedert. Detroit can't tackle nobody.
Yeah, man, Ertz is gone. Like, this is what's up.
Yeah, Ertz is gone. He's got the whole role. I think they maybe Gainwell got hurt. Like one of their offensive weapons. Miles Sanders got hurt. So they're like short of body.
Miles Sanders got hurt.
I wish I played him last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be Gainwell's backfield this week.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So tight end, let's go with Goddard then.
Yeah, you can go Goddard. I'm down. We could at least try. We could always look down, and we got the Mo Alley Cox in the back pocket if we really want to save money. At least it correlates. But for now, let's try to get Goddard. So you guys pointed out to me that Miles Sanders is hurt. I did not know this. Miles Sanders is currently starting on my season-long team. So I've got some business decisions to make.
Pick up Boston Scott.
Yeah.
Sure.
What do we?
If Gainwell's out, it's still available. Obviously.
What are we doing with Gainwell?
I think Gainwell is way more playable on DK. I think he's going to maintain his pass catching role. He might get a few more carries, but I think Boston Scott will get first and second down work too. I think that's the way it's going to shake out. And then you also have old man Jordan Howard that has been activated from the practice squad.
Yeah.
So the running back, I think the chalk running back, he's going to be in our FanDuel lineup, but the chalk running back of the week, I think, is going to be Eli Mitchell at 5,400 playing the Bears.
Right now, they got Darrell Henderson, DeAndre Swift, Cordero Patterson, Chuba Hubbard, and then Eli Mitchell in terms of the first projected ownership, with Henderson and Swift kind of far and away the top two.
That makes sense. I mean, Henderson's got he checks all the boxes, right? Playing Houston. I think the running back, whoever played Houston last week, I think their running back got some love too. Arizona? Yeah, was it Arizona?
Shit, you know what? I'll tell you what, a GPP lineup, I'll take James Robinson over Henderson all day.
Me too, all day.
All day. The matchup is so much better. I mean, Henderson was chalk last week in just the same matchup and did shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He always has that injury question mark too. He's left 3 out of 6 games this year.
Agreed.
So did what's his name? Mike Davis get hurt for the Falcons?
No. he just got replaced by
Cordero.
Patterson. He's just
Yeah.
being phased out. I also think that another great pivot is Harris from the Patriots. Chargers can absolutely be
Yeah, they're terrible against the run. That's a really good
run down the Chargers' throat. Don't forget that. And I feel like Robinson and Harris, I feel like one of those guys should be in our lineup. It's a good pivot off of the other guys.
Harris strikes me as like such a more FanDuel type play.
I agree. No, he doesn't catch any passes.
What do you guys think about Myles Gaskin? Like, we're assuming the Bills are going to trounce them. The last time they got trounced was against Tampa Bay, and Gaskin got 10 targets. The Bills have similar type pass rush. He's gotten 6 and 4 since then, and those were close games. 15 carries last week against Atlanta. He's 5'6".
And there's no Malcolm Brown. He's on IR, so it's just him and Ahmed.
Yeah.
Which I think Ahmed will cut into his workload.
Yeah, but he's going to get the good. You know what I mean? Gaskin's going to get the good.
You
know what I mean? I'm cool with Gaskin. I like that. Gets exposure to that game somehow.
I know you don't like taking running backs against the Jets.
No, this year I have no problem with it. They've been fucking, I mean, I don't know who they're starting the quarterback this week. I think that same kid,
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith.
Or
is it White? Is his name Mike White or something? Mike
White, maybe. Yeah, if it's somebody we've never heard of.
He took over for Wilson last week. They traded for Flacco, who is not going to be with the team till Friday, so it's not him playing. Yeah, they activated Josh Johnson from the practice squad. I don't know. It's confusing, but I have no issues taking running backs. I think Mixon's also a fine play. I think that maybe it's a little deeper than we thought it was, because I thought it was less deep than this. You guys are pointing out like players that I hadn't gotten to yet, like Robinson and
Yeah, I like Robinson a lot. Like, I would put him in the lineup. I think he just
he also correlates with the Jaguars D.
I like that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's stick him in there.
James Robbie. All right, we got 4750. Now let me ask you this question before we fill these two slots. Me and Joe were talking a little bit before the show. Wanted your opinion, and more from Joe also. But this Saints Bucks game, right? I know Joe's got thoughts that this game maybe isn't so shootouty and a little bit more, because we know the Saints play real slow. Winston revenge. They're in the Superdome. Pass funnel defense, the Bucks. This seems to me like either you want a piece of this game or you want to find a way to get the Bucks defense. Like that's what it seems like to me, right? I don't know. I could be wrong on both accounts. Paulie, you first, and Joe, please elaborate.
I'm like, you can never say no to the Bucks D when it's Jameis and how like pick six capable he is. But I don't know. Like I think the Saints are capable of putting up some points. To me, I'm not really that interested in either side. If the game goes the way you're talking, like Alvin Kamara is gonna have like another 30 touches like he did last week, and that's a whole different conversation. But I don't know. I don't think this game's going to be shootouty at all, but I do think there can be some points scored. I think we're looking at like a 21-17, 24-10, that kind of game. Lower scoring, but there will be some scoring.
Fair enough. Joe, you have similar thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's going to be in the under. Mm-hmm. No AB. It's in the dome. I'm pretty sure last year Brady's worst start
was against the Saints.
It was against the Saints in New Orleans in the beginning of the year. Now he went and beat them in the playoffs later on in the year, but that's obviously that's different. I think our choice has got to be like what's our best value receiver that we can put in this lineup now, because then that'll give us money to pay up for the flex.
Well, I mean, where were you going with that Saints discussion, CK?
Well, that's the matter, right? You've got, if you look at the receiving core, so you could, number one, Kamara. You have to address that, right? I don't know what people can do with Kamara. This is a terrible spot for running backs, but they're clearly trying to get this man the ball in any way they possibly can. Doesn't matter how.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if the pass funnel works, Marquez Callaway is only 5'4". I know he had a really terrible first game back, but Traquan Smith is only 3,900. So there's, something to be discussed. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Bucks are expensive. They're just like, GPP life. If you can afford them, good for you. Life is good. But the Saints are like, they're really cheap. So what do we do?
It's tough for me. Also, Michael Thomas may return. I don't think he will, but he actually may return for this game, which would throw a wrench in all that. Stills was getting targets. Callaway was getting targets. Traquan was getting targets when they were trying to come back last week. I don't know. I don't really like any of them, but absolutely the cheaper ones are certainly viable. As a one-off play, like Kenny Stills can hit a home run in one play and be worth it. And there is really not a ton of great value, as you said.
Joe's just walked out on us. You don't want to hear none of those Saints.
Oh, you don't like.
You don't want to hear
Thomas
none of
talk?
those Saints.
Yeah.
No Mike Thomas.
I actually have Mike Thomas on my main team.
All right, so value receiver, and then what we're left with in the flex. Who's got the?
How much money do we have per
47.50.
That's really rough when it comes to receiver. We may have to reassess.
Well, if we drop Henry, I know that goes against the little game stack, but we could save money there because there are apparently other running backs that we liked, Mixon and
there are,
and whatnot, and we would be saving a pretty good chunk of change that way.
Yeah. When it comes to value receivers, like Laviska Shenault, if we didn't have their running back, he'd be interesting in my opinion. 10 targets last week. The kid's good.
What about Pascal?
I was just gonna say, why not just for this lineup at least?
Yeah, as long as Ty is not in, yes, yeah, for sure.
And then not for nothing, but we have 5-1 left, so we could at this point we could look for a receiver pivot, or we can slide in the Gainwell play. Hope for the best. What do you guys want to do?
Oh yeah, this is a flex play. 5-1, you said. Gainwell against Philly.
Gainwell against Detroit.
Kobe Myers against the Chargers is there. Oh yeah, against Detroit. I like running backs against Detroit.
What about Judy against Washington?
That's a really good spot.
Where is he?
It's a great spot.
We could do. He's back. Oh yeah, good practice. Okay,
yeah.
I'm fine with it. You want to just do that, just so we get different. Yeah, get different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Boom. Wentz, Henry, Robinson, Pittman, AJ Brown, Pascal. So, and at the end of the day, the triple stack worked out after all. Goddard, Judy, Jags. I actually really like this team. There's a good chance I will play some variation of this team. In something. Maybe not the big contest, but I'll put it in something because I like that. All right, Joey's FanDuel. That's where Joey's live. Do you want to? What are you thinking over here? Obviously, different site, different rules, different pricing. Who's that out to you over there?
We're talking about quarterback?
Yeah, well, quarterback I was, but then I kind of realized, really any position you want to start with is fine. So,
well, let's just talk about quarterback. I mean, we spend a lot of time on running backs. Who do you guys think is going to be the cash game quarterback this week? Is it Jalen Hurts? Maybe not on FanDuel because he's pricey, but who's going to be the cash game QB?
I think it might be Josh Allen.
Josh Allen? Yeah, I mean, he's got a history of crushing the Dolphins. Their defense is terrible. On FanDuel, definitely. I'm not saving 400 and playing Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. On
maybe Burrow?
Yeah, definitely possible. Definitely possible. He's thrown 2 or more touchdowns in every game, looking better and better.
But I think that's it. I don't think that there's many that on FanDuel. Maybe Matt Stafford too against Houston. It's
so ownership for DraftKings has Hurts number 1, Josh Allen, and then a huge drop off.
Yeah, I see that, right? if you have the money, Allen is having like a Mahomes-esque type year. His floor has just been crazy, and his ceiling's been awesome. So I think he's gonna get that treatment where people feel like they can afford him, they will. But if they can't, they're gonna go to Allen Light, which is Jalen Hurts. It's been the trend every week. They go for the top quarterback. If they can't get that top quarterback, they settle for Hurts.
Yeah.
I did it last week with a team. So it's like,
I haven't played Hurts all year, and it hasn't hurt me one time. Like, I think he's overrated. He does put up.
He's got a really good
floor.
floor.
He's only a cash.
That's it. He's got a really good floor. And cash games all day, right? Like the numbers he's put up on DraftKings, his lowest score was this last week, and it was a 24. So in cash games, it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I think let's go with this. I'm gonna do more of a cash game build on this one. Show some of them my process. Right now, let's just go with Josh Allen at 8,800 as our quarterback. Our running back, I want to put in Elijah Mitchell will start at a value. For defense or tight end, I want Kyle Pitts. Defense, I want the Jags again.
The Jags are 3,500. Wow.
I mean, they're the cheapest defense, I think. I mean, like I said, Washington's 3,400. They priced the defenses correctly this week. I mean, Rams and Bengals are up at the top, but the Steelers just don't really even. I mean, I guess the Bills are kind of tempting, but they're 4,700. Wide receiver. I think that on FanDuel, Stephon Diggs is going to be like the chalk wide receiver, and that's going to be the pairing.
Especially because Josh Allen's going to be popular here. I see that.
So let's do that at 7,300, and let's do a little game stack.
Doing Waddle?
Waddle is the way to go. We could do a double.
With Gaskin.
With
Gesicki.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty decent spot for Gesicki. I think.
He's a receiver.
You know what? I kind of like that with Gaskin, and that's how we'll get. Because if you think that Buffalo is going to blow them out, you just bring it back with Gaskin, and he just gets the garbage time.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Let me ask you one question. This is off topic as fuck, but you guys don't like Herbert against New England?
I do. I like Herbert against New England.
Okay, good.
I definitely. Yeah.
I think he'd be fine. Like I said, I just don't. I'm not gonna. Last year, Belichick made him look bad.
It's true.
Like his worst.
He does that to rookie quarterbacks all the time. It was earlier in the year.
He did it to Zach Wilson twice.
I mean,
for the Chargers, as a Charger fan, the Chargers should win this game. If they are a contender in any way, they need to win this game.
I'm just saying, like, I'm with you, Joe. I think that through the run game or whatever, New England will find a way to move the ball. Right? Chargers defense hasn't ever lived. It's always supposed to be a good defense, and they're never as good as they're supposed to be. But Herbert, man, I'm a believer, man. This dude is good. This dude is good. He's coming off a bad game against Baltimore. If you look at the bigger opponents outside of Baltimore, like Kansas City, he showed up. What was the other game where he went for 40-something? Was it the Browns or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, it was the Browns.
He's got so much upside, and I think people are gonna skip over him. So I'm chasing, bro. 2 weeks ago, what team won me all the money? It was Dak Prescott against the Patriots. So I'm like,
it's there, and this game's got a sneaky high total too. Like, we didn't understand why against the Cowboys, and they did it. And I'm with that. I do like Herbert, and I mean, I think at this point of the season, if you're like CK and you build 5 main teams, like Stafford with Cup has to be just like guaranteed to be one of those. Right?
That's how I feel about Brady, bro.
You know,
you just like you got 5, right? Yeah, come on, you can find 2 for yourself. There's gonna be 3 guys you just play every week, and that's just life. And Mahomes is not one of them right now. Just saying. But anyway, we'll continue with the lineup. I just wanted your guys' thoughts on that game. Joey, we got 2 receivers and a flex. We've got 73-60
I
South.
think we should put J-Rob.
Yeah.
the
Okay,
flex.
I'm good with that.
I think we should continue to play Pittman on all lineups.
No. And Pittman was going to be my next my one receiver at 6,600, and then that leaves us 73 for our last receiver, 7,200. So then you're looking at guys like Cortland Sutton, great matchup, Ridley, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods. Those are
I like Sutton. Right?
How about we like save a buck or two at defense or running back and get DK Metcalf or Terry or wow, this pricing's wild.
Well,
Actually, no, we don't want DK, but DJ Moore's kind of interesting. We would need a couple more. Debo Samuel against the Bears.
I do think
Chase.
Debo. I'm not saying we have to play him in this team, but I do think Debo could be kind of sneaky. He's questionable, but if he plays, but I think
people are going to forget this, but last week everybody's going to go to Jamar Chase. But do you realize that Higgins got 15 targets last week?
Yeah, no, I like Higgins too on the cheap.
how much is it? 6'3".
He's 6'3" on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I also think that if I don't know where they're going to line him up, but if Tyrod Taylor comes back, Brandon Cooks at 6K is tempting. I just don't know if they're going to put Ramsey on him or not.
I don't think so. They've really been putting Ramsey's a slot corner now for him.
Yeah.
All right, so we're keeping the Jags D.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna put we have a wide receiver. We basically have one spot, 7,300.
I think if we come off anyone, you guys just talked about a receiver who was 6'3".
Robinson, 6'3".
Literally just talked about
T.
T.
Higgins.
Higgins.
T.
Okay,
Higgins.
T. Higgins. Yeah. Never mind.
And then we can upgrade James Robinson.
Upgrade James Robinson or upgrade Pittman. Or we can come down off Pitts if we have other options. I know our tight end is pretty fucked. We can go to Goddard again though.
Mm-hmm. What's your guys' stance on Cup? I mean, 9-2 on FanDuel.
Steep.
That's tough, but 9K on DraftKings. Like, where do you guys stand with the fucking GOAT?
He is a GOAT, isn't he? I don't think I play him too much this week, and that's because I don't know how much Stafford I get to this week. Oh, that could be such a big mistake, though. You know what? I didn't say that. I never said
like
that.
they're gonna crush.
I
like,
know.
They're gonna
My
score
concern.
5,
My
6
concern is that they're
touchdowns.
gonna.
That they come on
My
the
concern
ground.
is that they're gonna score. Like they're gonna do too well, too quick, and it's gonna be like, like Stafford's out of the game. Pull all the good players out of the game. Because I mean, I'm thinking about Aaron Donald. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock that Mills kid. He's been impressive at times, right? But I'm picturing Aaron Donald coming in on that ass, and I'm just having a hard time seeing Houston really moving the ball.
But Tyrod is starting.
Tyrod is starting?
Like, went back to practice.
Oh, he
today.
came back? Shit.
Lions also have a bye the following week.
You mean Texans?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. No, I said the Lions, which was irrelevant.
I mean, part of the reason
looking at the Rams.
part of the reason why Cup did what he did is because the Lions stayed in that game.
Yeah, the Lions were amped up. They were like, "You ain't fucking have a point."
Exactly, though. But they were amped up.
I mean,
All right, is Houston going to be amped
like,
up? They got rid of Watson. Let's celebrate. I know, and that's not even official.
it's not official. It's probably not gonna happen.
They got rid of Mark Ingram.
Yeah, they got rid of
they did
Ingram.
trade
Let's go.
But like, dude, Stafford's chasing an MVP, and they want to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. That coach is not known for like stepping off the gas. Like they could win that game 42-3, and Stafford throws 6 touchdowns. Kind of Tom Brady.
No, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right. I guess on DraftKings, it's a tougher conversation. I guess my bigger issue is that I feel like receiver is somewhat deeper. You know, like we went through the whole
So that's what we're
thing.
talking about is Cooper Cup, like on the
Yeah.
high end of the slate, like flex
Yeah,
wise,
yeah,
right? Like who are you looking to pay up for?
yeah. Well, you know, you put it in perspective. James Robinson's 8-2 over here.
All right, what if we did this? All right, what if we came down off of Pitts and put in Gesicki? Then we get goes with the game stack with Miami Buffalo. That frees us up 7,800 now, and we can fit in either Debo, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, AJ Brown. We have that correlation with Pittman. Got a little bit of that
You
game.
said go down to Gesicki. And then what? Oh, and we got 7-8.
And then
you can go Debo, DJ. Okay. You want DJ Moore? We could do DJ Moore.
I mean, the correlation would be AJ Brown.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice him. Yeah, we could do that little mini with Pittman. We don't have Henry in this team, right? We think Titans are gonna score.
Yeah, they're gonna put up point. So what's gonna happen in the Jets Bengals game? Are the Bengals gonna have like a letdown after this huge emotional win and it's like a lower scoring close game, or are they just gonna light the Jets up and Jamar Chase continues on this just Randy Moss-esque rookie season?
I think that I don't know if they're going to be any like long drives. Like I think they're not going to be able to move the ball with this, Mike White at quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't like I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. So It's like
the Bengals are going to roll.
It's going to roll, and like you're going to see Perrine, and Chase is going to get. Chase might get like 15 or 16, but is that going to be enough? Same thing with Cooper Kupp. Like you need a 20 from him for him to make value, I think.
Yeah, and for FanDuel, I think it's a much easier. No, let's go more balanced. But DraftKings with the PPR and whatnot, like Cooper Kupp's won, I don't know, 5 out of 7 slates this year. Like, and just in the like, who are we paying up for? There's only 4 guys above 8K in terms of flex on DraftKings, right? Kupp, Henry, Kamara, Diggs. And
well, going back to the DraftKings team, we have AJ Brown. We didn't have to keep Henry in there. We could very easily go to Gainwell and then instead of Henry in the flex Kupp. That was a route we could have gone. So we point being, we had the money for it. We just chose Henry.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be like the chalkier, expensive player at the flex? Is there one?
I don't know right now. I don't know that there is one right now. I mean, I'm thinking Cooper Kupp, but you know what the trend is. I think a lot of people are going to want Henderson. Maybe they play them both. But
yeah, no, I mean, I could see Diggs kind of catching fire.
Yeah, with the stack with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's going to be
it's
played,
just so much money.
And then
Allen and Diggs.
And he's 1,000 cheaper than Kupp.
That's rough.
All right, let's just do AJ Brown and call it a night.
We're there. So Josh Allen, Eli Mitchell, Myles Gaskin, Stephon Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr., AJ Brown, Mike Gesicki, James Robinson, Jacksonville Schlong defense. We'll do best bets and then we're getting the fuck up out of here. So who wants to start us off? While I look at this and pick one.
I'll take the Dolphins getting 14.
Ooh, risque. Joey.
I'm going to take the under in the Bucks Saints.
I like that. I love that.
Under in the Bucks Saints. I then bet. I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles, man. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I know it's fucked, but Detroit hasn't won a game. I think everybody's thinking in their mind this is it because they hung in there with the Rams. That was an elevated game. Jared Goff was trying everything he could. I mean, the team dumped his ass. Like the team said, we would have won 2 Super Bowls if it wasn't for your punk ass. That's what they said. You know what I mean? And it was true. It's like Stafford is not going to take them to a Super Bowl. So it was obvious. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of laid an egg or at the very least if their defense is just unable to and I think the Eagles are going to do it running. Whether that's Hurts, whether that's one of the running backs, I don't know. But I think they're going to do it on the ground, right?
Yeah. Everybody runs against them.
And let's go. So I'm doing that. Okay, I guess that's gonna do it. This was cool. This was good. Now I feel prepared to start my research and everything. I know where to look first. This is fun. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be back at it next week. Anything in closing, Mr. Patio Joe? You first.
Nah, man, let's keep it going. 6-1 in cash games. Let's make it 7-1. Here we go.
Dirty by nature. Paulie.
Oh man, everything's good. We doing good. Yeah.
All right, for Patio Joe, for myself, for Paulie D, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.